Hi, I'm JJ Conway, and I help hardworking women and a few good men build financial confidence and take ownership of their financial future. I'm cheering you on with education on financial literacy, smart investments, and passive income streams. Welcome to Ladies of Wealth. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's JJ Conway. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And we have a fantastic show lined up for you. What? Oh, hello there. Hello there. We have a new visitor today. Make sure you speak into the mic.
My name is Rangy.
Hi, Rangy.
Hello, Ms. Conway. I hear you have a show, so kind of wanted to be in it.
And what would
Hope
you like?
don't mind.
What would you like to tell the audience today?
Unfortunately, Gabe could not be on the show, so I'm just gonna do his little football thing for him.
Okay.
Yay!
And what do you have this time?
This one says it's a fire one too,
Ooh, I like the fire one.
and it says, let's see. Hang on.
Would you like me to help?
Nope.
Oh, you got it.
I am independent bear. And it says, stay focused. Flames of determination.
You had that one last week. Okay, everybody. I really do appreciate Rangy joining us today with Ultra Cubby. While they are getting a new thing, let me tell you what we're going to be talking about today. We are going to be talking about
Party.
Oh, okay. All right. Come on. It's late. Let's go.
This one says, celebrate your growth. You've earned it. Basically, you've achieved it. You get to celebrate now.
Mm-hmm. Backflip. Well, thank you for that. Yeah. Bye, Rangy. Okay. Well, it's actually a really important one because a lot of times people who are very driven, we don't ever stop to celebrate our successes and our wins. And if we don't stop to celebrate our successes, then we might find ourselves unrealistically doubting our ability to have success. And so having a success timeline is so important, and being able to celebrate the wins as they come along. And so today we're going to talk about something that has had a lot of success for me over the last, I've been doing live events since 2016. So it's had a lot of success for me. It's one of the biggest ways that I generate clients for my business, and it is through live events. Live events are one of the most powerful tools that you can use to grow your brand, build trust, and actually convert followers into paid clients. And I love followers. And I remember when I was $800,000 in debt, I wasn't going to pay you. It didn't matter how good your stuff was. If it wasn't free, it wasn't for me, because I was $800,000 in debt, right? And so, but it's always important. It's always important to have people who pay. Otherwise, there's nobody able to serve the people who can't pay. So there's always got to be somebody's got to pay. Whether it's you, even a nonprofit, somebody's got to pay for the work to be done. Okay. And so when done well, a live event can turn strangers into loyal fans and can turn loyal fans into paying customers. But a lot of live events fail, especially right now. A lot of speakers and conference planners are seeing that the dollars are not always coming in like they used to in the past. And I'm not just talking about COVID businesses, because a lot of people started COVID businesses and they were making money hand over fist, just doing things online that everybody, the world was in chaos, and people were grasping for anything that brought hope and anything that was going to feel genuine and anything that felt like they were going to be able to make it. And so there was a different time set that a lot of people started their businesses. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about live events today, because one of the things that I've been doing is I've been doing live events since a couple years before COVID was a thing. And so I didn't just have a COVID business, but I also had a business where it existed before COVID, it adapted for COVID, and now it's growing beyond COVID. All right. And so that's one of the things that I really want to it's one of the reasons that I really wanted to bring this class, because there's a lot of people out there who are failing it. I don't know a nicer way to say it. Like, I hate to use harsh language, right? And be like, you failed. Well, there are a lot of people who are failing at live events. So guess what they're doing? Those who can't teach. Now, I use that phrase to joke about myself when it comes to wholesaling and real estate. I stink at wholesaling, but I know how to do it. So I love to teach other people how to do it. And then I love to buy their properties when they find me something good to invest in, right? But when it comes to live events, a lot of people, and I only know this because I've been part of their planning, or they've brought me in as a consultant as part of their planning. And then they've gone through the effort of planning their conference, and they may not have, they either brought me in as a speaker or they didn't listen to the consulting if they brought me in as a consultant, and I watched them fail to meet their revenue goals, fail to meet their attendee goals, fail to meet any of the goals that they had for their conference. And then yet, instead of acknowledging that maybe we need to do things a more excellent way, they turned around and packaged the course on how to do a profitable live event. Well, the only profit they were making off of the live event wasn't from the live event, it was from telling you how to do a live event. And I'm seeing it more and more and more. And as you get traction in the speaking world, you begin to know who's who. And I was like, okay, enough is enough. If one more of my clients buy somebody else's live events class, and are they're out $2,000 or $3,000 and don't learn how to actually put together a live event, oh, I'm going to be hot. And it's like, well, then you better make a class. So we got a class coming up for you if you're interested in how to plan a live event and looking over my shoulder and doing case studies of 2 real world live events. I want you to stay on the line, because at the end, we're going to talk about an opportunity for you to learn from our event that we did, our Global Youth Initiative, 2-day youth event with a fashion show and a youth summit and a youth, what do you call it? A trade show fair in the middle of the mall. You're also going to learn from the Juneteenth Legacy event, 3-day hybrid event with multiple guest live and Zoom speakers, plus local events such as Walking with Opal Lee and the Clark sisters and other things like that. You're going to get to learn from those, and you're going to get to have an opportunity to look over my shoulder in real time as I plan out one of my next big conferences. And so sometimes it's always easy for people to get up here and yap yap yap. Well, this is what you're going to do, but I'm actually going to walk you through it. Okay. Your live events after tonight, they're going to be profitable. The reason live events fail isn't because the host isn't knowledgeable or passionate. It's because of some common mistakes that they don't realize that they're going to make. And so tonight, we're going to talk about the top reason live events are not getting the results most planners hope for. And I'm going to share with you the good, the bad, and the ugly of live event planning so your next event can be a profitable success. Now, if you are listening to me as part of the Ladies of Wealth podcast, I encourage you to join us live on Thursday nights when we record these sessions that then become extracted for the podcast. One of the benefits you get about listening or watching Thursday nights is you get to ask your question live. Now, if you don't want to ask your question live in the chat, or if you don't feel like having your name attached to your question, you can always ask a question anonymously at ladiesofwealth.com. I think in the thing it says Ask JJ, but the actual URL is contact. Okay. So you can either click the Ask JJ button, or you can type in contact and it'll take you to the page. You can submit a short form, or if you just want to do a quick talk, you click that microphone button, talk your talk, and then when you're done, you're done. You don't even have to leave your email if you don't want to. Okay, and so that's one of the great things that we offer is you can be anonymous if you need to be, because sometimes when we talk about money, we do not need everybody up in our business. Okay, all right. So, and if you are joining us live, I do hope you'll also check out the Ladies of Wealth podcast, because although we do these live on Thursday nights, we do have a lot of content that is coming soon, that and in the past that was not broadcast, like different interviews that I do with people. Most of those are pre-recorded during the day, and content like that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about. Was there something else I was supposed to add? I think I was supposed to talk about our class schedule. Yep. I was supposed to talk about our class schedule. Uh, Today is our second Thursday. It's our 7-figure business building. Every Thursday, we have a different theme. Every first Thursday is questions. I answer your money questions with what I like to think is style and grace. Every second Thursday is 7-figure business building. It's what we're doing today. And every third Thursday is real estate investing 101. And every fourth Thursday is our empowered entrepreneur. How do you be the person that has what you want out of life? Okay. And so you can watch at any time. If you are not able to join us through the podcast, you can go on most social medias at JJ Knows the Way. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. I don't think we stream to Instagram. Okay. All right. So, how can you ask a question? I think I already covered that, but let me just make sure you can post a comment in the comments and I'll get to it when I get natural breaks in the conversation. Or you can go to ladiesofwealth.com. Whew, okay. 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 So, now let's talk about why most live events fail. And before I get into the mechanics of that, because that's more of a discussion, I have some slides on I have some slides on planning, okay? Because I'm going to talk to you about planning. Planning is the foundation. And then I'm going to talk to you about the mechanics because we can do all the planning that we want to do, but if we don't do the mechanics, it's not going to work. But if we don't plan, planning is the number one. I should have saved it for the end, but I'm not because I have these slides. And some of you, if you've been with me long enough, you've seen these slides, but we're going to have a little bit of a nuance with it today. Planning is the number one issue that most um, let's see, I'm trying to share my screen here. There we go. If I just pause from my talking and actually do it. Okay. All right. So there's the screen. Seven-figure business building. Why most live events fail. Okay, we're gonna skip. We're gonna skip the building wealth together information. Now let's see this one. I want. Can we do that? I don't know if I like that on the small. So for those of you who are watching on the widescreen, StreamYard is not giving me the opportunity to be also on a vertical. And so if I'm trying to figure out how I want best to display that, I don't like the options it's giving me. They look fine. Ooh, no. I don't want to be big on this. I want y'all to see that. Okay. Well, for those of you who are watching me vertically, I'm sorry. I'm not so sure that this is going to work out the way we want it to work. Okay. But we're going to give it a shot. Okay. So, the crucial first step that nobody is talking about when it comes to live events is really understanding your why. We have to understand what it is that we want to accomplish and why we want to accomplish this. It's one of the things that even most speakers don't understand why they are speaking, beyond the fact that they want to speak for a living and make money to talk. Well, making money to talk is not necessarily a great thing. Having a conference just to make money can be a strong motivator, but it usually doesn't push past obstacles. And so, one of the things that we see in our event planning is the most dynamic events are not just those that are money grabs. Now, those work. There are plenty of people out there who have the charisma, the NLP skills, the sales skills, the people skills to go out there and just talk you out of all your money, okay? There are those events, they exist. I don't specialize in teaching people how to do things that are personality dependent. See, I like to teach my clients things that work for, the 80% rule, the 80/20 rule. I'm trying to teach my clients to focus on things that are repeatable and oh, you know what? I shouldn't have said 80/20 rule because that's it. What I'm talking about is the bell curve. 80% of people are in a bell curve, and you have people on either end. That's what I really meant. So I'm gonna have to explain that now. So most people give me my Sharpie. See if I can grab it. Can't reach the Sharpies. I don't know why they're so far away. Okay, so when it comes to success and almost anything in life, most people fall under a bell curve. Okay. You're going to have 80% of people in the middle of average of something. Okay. And then for event planning, we're going to just call these people here on the far left smooth talkers. Okay. We're going to call them smooth talkers. And these people in this other tail, we're going to call them um, masterminds. Okay. Because they're behind the scenes and they put it together and they're able to bring everybody together, and that event is going to be very successful. Okay. And then you've got the rest of us. The rest of us. So we're good in some areas. We're a mastermind in this area, that area, but in other areas, we're not so much. And, um, we're a smooth talker in some areas, but we're not so much in other areas. And so when I give my generalized financial recommendations, I want to focus on things that are going to work for most of the people most of the time. And for the most part, a lot of what I teach works for all the people all the time that work it. Right. And so I like things that follow checklists. In the Air Force, we had a thing that, a phrase, read a step, do a step, get a banana. I like read a step, do it, read a step, do it, read a step, do it, get the result. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 equals 5, right? I like stuff like that. Now, people in world of peopling, that's not always the case, but in 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, you follow the foundation I'm gonna give you tonight, you're gonna be successful with your live event, okay? Okay, so let's go back to that slide. All right. You have to understand why you are doing this. And I don't just mean the big why, although we like to focus on that in the motivational world, but there's a lot of other whys for the conference. So, are we going to try to generate revenue? That's a big motivator. Most people putting together events, they are putting together events because they want to make money, okay? But that's not the only reason. There's also list building or exposure, especially for new speakers. In fact, when I went to take my financial planning business, hold on, let me make this big on me. When I went to take my financial planning business from free and volunteering at different churches and to fee, where people would pay me to do this work, I took a class with Dave Ramsey's company, financial coach masterclass. And in the class, Les Ninow and Chris Hogan, they really poured into us. They actually gave me the foundation of my business that I have today, right? So like everything that I do is what Les and Chris taught me to do. I mean, I've had other coaches along the way, but the foundation is what they taught me to do. And one of the things they said was, hey, one of the best ways to attract clients is to speak, and I've found that to be true. And then they said, if you can't find a stage, create one and be your own keynote. And that's why Building Wealth Together annual conference was born, because I couldn't get anybody to hire me. I needed footage, I needed photos, I needed social proof that I could be a speaker. And so we put together a conference. And crazy enough, we put together this conference when I was 9 months pregnant just to do it and just to get it done. And I figured, well, be something I can do. We'll just try it. It's a first one. I did not have any idea how successful it was going to be. And now we're getting ready to plan for our 12th conference. I'm so excited about that at the end of the year. Okay. And so, we got to understand why. Well, in my case, in that particular case, the reason I was doing that was to get exposure. Okay. Another reason that's very important is higher networks and connections, especially when you're bringing in higher level headliners and you want to grow connection with them. The number one currency of profitable relationships is that first word, the profit. And so it's just like in real estate. The currency of real estate is deals. If you want experienced investors to take you seriously, you're going to present them with actual deals that make them money. Similarly, when it comes to very successful headliners who can open up doors for you, a lot of times money talks. And bringing them into an event is a great way to start a relationship if you didn't have one already, or if you aren't able to establish one already. Excellent vehicle for doing so. Okay. It helps you to establish credibility. Maybe you are trying. I love this. Y'all will laugh at this a little bit, but it's so true. I once spoke at a conference for somebody who was trying to establish herself in a particular demographic as the voice of masculinity. Now, I understand that it was a little confusing to me. I'm like, how can a woman be the voice of masculinity? But Not she brought one of the world's leading experts in sensitive, transparent masculinity. And I'm telling you, this guy was very impressive. I was very impressed with his talk. I was very impressed with everything that he had to say. And I was like, I want my child at the time I just had the one, I think, but I want my child to learn from him, you know. And I really thought, wow, she's onto something. And he laid it out for her. He said, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, including continue having your conference, and you will emerge as the authority on masculinity for this particular demographic. And I was like, you know, anybody can build credibility with anything if they put the right tools in place. And that's exactly what she did. Another one, and this is the one that I hope will underpin anything that you learn from me, is that I'm not just making money, but I'm making money by changing lives. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody who comes to me's life is going to change, because some people don't do the work. Some people don't take the next step. Some people won't get out of their comfort zone. Some people will not fill in the blank. And unfortunately for most of us, the way that success works is you have to get outside of your comfort zone. Success begins at the end of your comfort zone. So you can't just stay where it's comfortable and snugly warm. Okay. You have to get out and break free if you want to get your life to a higher level. And most of us don't do that. At the same time, though, I want to create pathways that I enjoy, that are fun for me and my family, and that help change lives and put profit in my pocket as well as the pocket of the people who help me execute the vision, my speakers, my vendors, my volunteers. Okay. And yes, there are more ways to profit than just money. There are many more ways to profit than just money. Okay. So you really have to understand what it is that you're trying to do before you launch a live event. You want to understand, am I strictly trying to make money? My decision making for making money at an event is different than my decision making if I want to build connections. It's not always completely different. In fact, the best events that I go to incorporate all of these things in some aspect. However, when we're starting out, it's important not to try to be all things to all people, because that's a great way to dilute our message and then attract no one. Let me say that again. If we try to be all things to all people, we will attract no one to our cause or to giving contributions to the things that we think are important. If we try to be all things to all people, we will attract no one. That's for that's for your organizations, your nonprofits, your businesses, your live events, all the things. All right, and so I got this chart. This is actually a reproduction of a chart off of Amazon. there is um there is a chart when you go to launch a book, and this is true for anything, but I just pulled it from Amazon because that's where where I see it most of the time. There's a sweet spot on things. Okay, if price is your path and price is your goal, there's going to be a minimum price there's going to be a minimum price at which you hit the zero line. The reason the zero line is not at $0 is because you have to rent the venue. Even if you have your own venue, you gotta find a venue, you can get that donated, okay? But even some of those things have a relationship cost, if it's not even a monetary cost, right? You have to get the things, you have to get the speakers, you have to have plates and tablecloths or whatever it is that you need to have. There's usually some cost that goes into the event. Now you may wanna spend on advertising, you may wanna spend on this, you may wanna spend on that. I had a community center in the mall. Half of it was our church and the other half of it was a community center. And so for me, I was able to put on events with very little cost, but the cost still wasn't zero. It could be as little as $25, $30, but it still wasn't zero. Okay. Unless you already have a very large network, you'll be hard pressed to fill your room with just $0. Okay. You want to have things that entice people, but you could. I'm not saying you can. I did it all the time. I would test a concept, y'all. Ooh, that's a good thing. I wasn't going to talk about that now, but I don't want to forget it later because it's not part of my thing. I mean, it never mind. Uh, It's part of what I want to talk about, but it's so far at the end, I don't wanna miss it. A lot of times it's very important to test the concept, okay? And that's one of the things that we'll go through in the class that I'm offering you all tonight at the end of our session tonight is how do you make sure that people are wanting what you're trying to sell, that they want the event that you wanna put together, okay? It's very important to test the concept. And, but you're gonna start off at some point where you break even. You have to figure out what that point is. It's different for every event. And whatever you find out what that point is, uh, then if you are able to increase the price, you will probably get more profit. Okay. But the problem is you get to a point where, okay, my ticket costs, maybe my ticket cost is about $20 for the way that I like to do basic events, not my high level events, but the basic events. The basic event, the basic price is about $20 to $25 to break even. My higher level events, the basic price is going to be about $200 per person to break even. You know, when we go out to Sweetie Pies or one of these other really nice steakhouses and we do the private room, that's a little bit more of an elegant affair, especially if we're doing nice tchotchkes and we do cups and all those kinds of just and the swanky rose gold pens and all that stuff. Okay, that's going to be like $200 $300 per person. But there comes a point where you raise that price up so much that people stop buying. So you can keep raising the price, but you're going to actually lose profit because you're not going to get as many people. The people you get pay more, but you're not going to get as many people. And so there's different price testing things that you can do to figure that out. One of the mistakes I see a lot of people with live events make is, oh, look, I quickly sold 10 sick tickets at $25. I'm going to raise the price to $250, and then you're so far off my chart here that you're making like almost nothing because nobody else is buying a ticket. Okay. So you want to be aware of that. So when it comes to doing a live event for cost, and we're looking at the cost aspect now, you have to balance out how much you're going to have your tickets for. Are you going to do tickets versus free? Are you going to pay the speakers? Are the speakers going to be free? Are you going to ask the speakers to pay to play? When I started out with a virtual summit, after I had done a few events, I wanted to do a virtual summit that was completely free. The Healing My Sister's very first summit. Oh, I took the book in my office. The Healing My Sister's very first summit in 2018, that one was completely free. The speakers spoke for free. They either sent me their videos or I interviewed them. I did the flyer. I did all their graphics. I did everything. It wasn't really free because I did everything. Okay. I want you to hear me on that. It's not really free if you're doing everything. It's not really free if you're doing everything because if you're doing everything, then your time, your energy, the time away from your family, those all have a cost. And if you are thinking, oh, this is free, but your children haven't had a chance to play with you in over a month, it is not free. There is always an opportunity cost to be lost. When you make one decision to spend your time one way, then you are costing the other decisions that you could be making. And so, even if the value of the money is free, you have to think about the value of your time. All right. I have heard many speakers. Now, it's funny. A lot of speakers say this, they don't really mean it. Let me take that back. Let me take that back. I've heard a lot of speakers say, oh, well, I'll just speak for free because I can sell in the back of the room. And then when I'm like, okay, great, come speak for free. And they're like, oh, no, you're going to have to pay me. You have to decide, okay, you're gonna have if you're not going to pay speakers, then you want to let them sell from the back of the room. Most times an experienced speaker is going to get more money, more compensation, more clients by selling from the back of the room. Okay. If you're planning a live event and you want the revenue in your pocket, don't make the mistake that I made. If you are planning an event and you want revenue, you want money in your pocket, don't make the mistake that I made. and let everybody sell stuff. And by the time you get to the end of the conference, nobody's got money left to buy your stuff. So you have to be very careful with that. When I have a conference that I'm allowing all of my speakers to sell, I make sure I am making my profit on the ticket sales and the event composition. Okay. So you want to keep that in mind. And then if you're going to have vendors and advertisers, that's always a good thing to help cover the cost of the event, okay, and to help add some revenue to the event, give you some wiggle room to the event. But all of these things have a balance. And I do want to speak to speakers, okay? And I see the comments here, and I appreciate those of you who are on. I will answer the questions when we get to a break. But I want to speak to my speakers now, okay? So I specifically want to talk to my speakers in this moment. When it comes to speaking engagements, we can get paid. We can get paid either our regular fee and or travel, or if we're virtual, our virtual fee. We can be asked to speak for free, but allowed to sell from the back of the room. We can be asked to speak for free or reduced costs, but compensated in other areas such as the footage or graphics or things like that. Okay. Or we can be asked to pay to play. And I generally in my events, I am generally working with a budget on the lower end where I might be able to afford to pay Hall of Fame speakers or other headliners, but then everybody else is either at no cost, or if it's a bit more of a swanky event with more logistics, then there will be a speaker buy-in, and then the speakers will get compensation through affiliate fees and things. The reason I want to take a moment to talk to speakers in an event planning thing, in an event planning class, is because a lot of times speakers will be like, "Oh, I don't pay to play." And I'll be like, "Well, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities because there are sometimes I pay to play at events. I'm not paying to play just because I want to be on your stage. I mean, I do want to be on your stage. I love getting new graphics. If I can get more footage of me speaking and I haven't, I've had a dry spell, I'll go ahead and do that. But most of the time, most of the time, when I pay to play, it's because I want to build relationships with the other speakers because I host conferences. And guess what somebody needs who hosts conferences? I need speakers. So I just want to encourage you on that. Always look at the totality of what you are getting out of an event. And if you are a conference planner, make sure that if you are asking people to speak for free or you're asking people to sponsor your event, that you provide them with value. I get people very often, they're like, we want you to come sponsor our event, and our minimum sponsorship is $5,000, and you get a link on our website. And I'm like, yay, no. A link on your website that's not gonna be here next year. Oh, I said that out loud. I did. That's not gonna help me. Now, if it's a link on your website and you've been doing this for 20 years or 10 years or 5 years even, that's different. Well, you have to understand what people see behind the scenes when you make your request. And your website is I'm a great person at Wix.com. Okay? So we go through all of that. I go through all of that in my course on events that I'm going to talk to you about later for those of you who want to dig a little deeper. And I walk you through, and it's mind-boggling to me how many people will bring me in as a consultant, and then when they want to talk about sponsorship, they're like, "Well, we'll give them 20 virtual seats." And I'm like, "But they don't need you to give them 20 virtual seats. As soon as you give them one, they're gonna, unless you're on a platform like Remo or, one of these other Hoova or something like that, Hop In. I don't even know if that one's still in business. But unless you're on one of those controlled platforms, you give that link out once, they can send it to the whole family. They can put the whole family, the whole company. They can broadcast it to their conference room. I mean, that's not going to sway a sponsor from giving a $500 sponsorship to a $5,000 sponsorship. You have to really get at What sponsors are aligned with your event and what do they want? Okay. Whew. Okay. All right. So, if you're doing live events for credibility, the cool thing about a live event that you're trying to do for credibility is it doesn't have to be a big blowout. Okay? You don't have to have a big blowout to have a good event that builds your credibility. What you are looking for in an event that builds your credibility is you're looking for an event where you can get graphic and social proof of you speaking and doing a great job. And so, even if you are giving a free class in the library on how to avoid scams, because I can't go into most libraries and teach on wealth building, but I can go into most libraries and teach on how to avoid scams. And when I got started, guess what I did? I booked rooms at the libraries and we talked about how to avoid scams. And guess what I did with that footage? I used it as social proof for getting other speaking engagements, okay? So in other speaking engagements that I've done, I've set up a camera and had a good giveaway that people really wanted. Okay, give me a quick 90-second testimonial and you get this $50 CD or you get this book or you get whatever I have on hand, okay? And so you can do that. Now, when it comes to having a live event, I do want to let you know, you might feel like you have got a great idea for an event. Hold on, let me make me bigger here. Yeah, no, I don't want to be bigger. Let me make the screen. You may feel like I have this amazing idea for an event, but I am not a professional speaker. Can I do this? Yes, you can. Not everyone who plans successful events is an amazing professional or public speaker. People who can put the event together and bring the right personalities to the stage can still make significant profit, have significant impact, generate significant credibility for their cause, for themselves, for their company, and also be able to build incredible connections between the attendees and the headliners and achieve their goals. Sometimes sometimes you can put together a conference where other people come in and you set up a profit share where you take a percentage of whatever that speaker sells, and you could make more money than if you tried to get up on the stage. And guess what? That's okay. It's all part of the process. So don't dismiss events just because you don't feel like you're behind the mic stage speaker with a big personality. It's okay. You can still be successful with live events. I do want to warn I want to warn everyone who is listening. I want to warn everybody who's listening. You really, really have to be careful about folks trying to teach you how to do live events. I know. I'm not saying things the right way. I'm not playing nice, but it really upsets me how many people are getting scammed by folks who did not do their own successful event, but they want to turn around and make money off of you, so teaching you how to do a successful live event. Absolutely, absolutely, um, mm, wow, okay. Let me calm down. Let me calm down. So what I'm gonna propose to everybody who's on here today is I'm gonna propose that you watch out for these charlatans, or let me not say charlatans. Charlatans is probably too strong of a word. Let's use desperate people who really need to make money. Can we say it that way? I find that in a lot of categories, not just live events. I find that in a lot of people who take on debt to execute something and then it doesn't work and now they freak out and they resort to unsavory methods of building the wealth any way they can with broken promises and an empty trail of tears because you spent everything you had. You invested in yourself. They convinced you that if you don't invest in yourself, no one else will. And if you don't bet on yourself, no one else will. And so if you really believe in yourself, go ahead and pull out that card and put it down and go into debt because you're going to make so much money that that debt's going to be like small chump change, and invest in yourself and make it happen. And I'm here to tell you, I want you to invest in yourself, but I want you to invest in your education so that you can plan events using a better way. And that better way is the way that I'm going to outline for you in the class that I'm offering this evening. You can do it the hard way. You can do it yourself. You can take like me 10 years to learn over event after event after event after event and finally figure out what's working, or you can learn from someone who, I guess I need to learn how to update my slide, someone who has 10 years of winning at events, after a lot of events not going well, finally figured it out. All right. You can learn from somebody who's been doing that, and not just, and not, oh, let me add this. And hold on. Let me just, my screen is going very slow. So let me make me big here. Instead of learning from somebody who did one event and lost money, you have the opportunity to learn from somebody who's been producing profitable events for the last 10 years. And not just telling you that I have profitable events, but almost every time I do a real estate or other class, I mention my CPA, Ibericoya, the wealth building CPA. And she has been doing my taxes. And there are some years the revenue is up and there are some years the revenue is down. But one thing she will tell you is if you look at all those special schedules that I'm filing, I have a lot of business income, and I'm not afraid to show you. Now, I'm not going to show my tax return in public, but you want to come over to my house? You want to come to one of my private retreats? Oh, we bring out the financials because I want you to know I put the time and energy into this. I'm not just some fly by night. People say, "Oh, I've got a business. I've got a business. I've got a business." Well, what does your tax return say? You know what your tax return says? For the last 5 years, you done lost money. That's not a business. The IRS calls that a hobby. And I got the receipts, y'all. I got the receipts. And so I'm going to encourage you today, if you are interested in learning how to do live events, if you are interested in learning how to do live events, I'm going to encourage you to learn from somebody who's got a proven track record of winning with live events. I want to invite you as one of my special VIPs to a pre-launch special that we are doing. It is pre-launch this week. It's going to start. The first class is going to start Tuesday, March 31st. Okay. So the first class is going to start Tuesday, March 31st. It is a look over my shoulder on planning the Juneteenth Legacy 8th Annual Economic Summit. Now, some of the planning has been done. We just confirmed that we will be at OSU in Tulsa, and I am reconfirming with those speakers who gave me a soft commitment. We are firming up our commitments with all of our speakers that gave me soft commitments, and then we will be doing an open call for additional speakers. And what I'm offering with you is that part is already done. Okay, I'm still working through that. But once we get that done, and hopefully by March 31st, or otherwise you'll get that too. But what I'm offering for you to do, where is my slide? There we go. What I'm offering you to do is to come look over my shoulder. Now I'm going to because my computer's acting a little wonky, I'm actually going to take me off of I'm going to take me off of the screen really quickly because I'm going to take me off the screen because my computer is taking too long for me to go back and forth between the PowerPoint and you. Okay. And once I finish this, we're going to go and I'm going to give you some real world issues, some like tactical details. Okay. So, what I've talked about today is the strategic level about event planning. What I'm about to talk to you about is going to be the tactical nitty gritty of some of the tactical mistakes that speakers and conference planners make that prevent their live events from being profitable, right? But before I do that, I want to explain to you what I'm offering in this live class that's coming up. Right now, we are offering a pre-launch special of this class where you will be able to look over my shoulder. So you'll actually effectively be part of the planning team. You're going to get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. You're going to get to see the mistakes and the wins of planning a conference. You're going to walk with me every step of the way, and you're going to get my honest feedback about lessons learned. Like I know most people know I'm pretty much who I am all times. Okay. I'm not one of these people that pretends to be somebody else. Okay. But you're gonna see the real JJ Conway to a greater degree than you see her now. Okay, you're gonna get the real nitty gritty on that. Okay, you're gonna also get to sit in on any negotiation calls that am able to make. Granted, some of that negotiation is already done because the biggest negotiation is between the headliners and the venue. Okay. But we're going to go through and I'm going to walk you through all of that. We're going to actually sit down and do 2 case studies. So already in the portal, if you go and log in today, you're going to get the editable files for 2 of my previous events. You're going to get the Global Youth Initiative Summer Success that we did, where it was the event in the mall. It had a youth expo with like a trade show with booths. It had a fashion show, and it also had 2 days of youth programming, content, classes, and activities. So you're going to get that. You're going to get the TikTok for that, the schedule of events. You're going to get the planning and all that. And you're going to also get similar information and marketing graphics and baseline templates for the Juneteenth Legacy Conference. You're going to get all the different for each of these events and some sample ones. You're going to get the different planning timesheets and things that you can use, some marketing examples that you can use for your events. And all of this you're going to get as you walk through this. If you register tonight, if you register tonight within 24 hours, I'm going to give you a little bit of extra time. If you register within 24 hours of this session, you will be able to get it for $99 instead of the $299 regular price. So you will save $200 on this events class that we are putting together. Why are you going to save $200? Because you're buying the class before I finish teaching the class. So what you're doing is you're taking a leap of faith with me, and because you're taking a leap of faith with me that I'm going to deliver on the promise you are getting the discount. Anybody who knows, this is usually the model that we use. We have a pre-launch price, we have the launch price, and then once the class is fully built up, the price goes up again. So right now is going to be $99 tonight. Once we start the class, the price will go up to $299. And then after that, it will go to either $599 or $797. We're not sure yet. You will also get an opportunity to put your face on our marketing graphics for the next conference. So you can come in at the $99 level, but if you want to upgrade your experience, you will be able to actually have your sponsorship that puts your face on our tickets, along with me and our headliners and our speakers, and also on our marketing flyers and other things. So every speaker gets at least one graphic of them with the headliners and chief board members of our conference, and that can be you. That right there is worth 5 times what I'm charging. Okay. So I want you to go out to jjclink.com/events, and I want you to take a look at that. It's only $99 tonight, and you can do that right there. Okay. Now, that is that class. And the reason I wanted to give you that class now is because I tend to forget to tell you I have a class. I talk and I answer questions and I teach and I answer questions, and then my little one gets tired, and then we end the class and we go to bed. And then I'm like, I forgot to tell them about the class. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take I'm going to take I'm going to take the switch this over here. Man, I didn't see some of these questions earlier. I didn't see some of these questions. Um, but we're going to have to talk about that a little bit later because that's going to take us very, very far. Okay. Um, I always like it when people be rude about my eyebrows. I had an accident when I was 23 that stripped half of them. So y'all go ahead and sit down somewhere about that. All right. All right. Come on now. I don't understand why we get so many people, but I kind of feel like if you don't have haters, you ain't doing nothing worth doing. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close out these slides, and hopefully that'll make the computer go a little faster. Hopefully the broadcast quality is good for y'all. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop that share. But yeah, I really I'm really excited about the class because you're gonna get the real world documents, like the real schedule and TikTok that we use to run the show. You're gonna get all that stuff. And you get the editable version so you can customize it to yourself, to all of your future events. I give you my master checklist, my 3-page master checklist that I hardly ever use the full one because no events need the full ones. But when I was the chief of protocol for a 4-star command, we had a master 3-page checklist that we used for every event. And I took that and I adapted that to the events that I do now. And it's a phenomenal checklist and it will cover everything that you need. So if that is a worth the price of admission to the class, even by itself. Okay. So now that we did the framework and the understanding of the biggest reason why so many events fail. It's the lack of the preparatory planning and the lack of understanding why you're doing this and the lack of adjusting what you're doing to the why you're doing it, what the goal of your live event will be, whether it's a conference, whether it's a small group, whether it's a workshop. A live event isn't just a big 300 person conference. A live event can be 5 people coming to a photography workshop where you brought in an outside expert to come in and teach. And so one of the mistakes that people make when they do their live events is and I know I used to be so oh y'all, I used to be so bad about this. I really thought, how they have that movie, If You Build It, He Will Come, the baseball movie. I really thought if I built it and I announced it, people would show up. That's not how that works. No, that is not how that works. And a lot of times people who are planning events, they'll post one announcement like, "Hey, we're going live Thursday at 7." And they expect a million people to show up because of course they got the goods, right? Well, your audience is busy. Okay? Your audience is busy. Social media right now is really getting on my nerves because it doesn't even serve all the people that would like to see your stuff. You know, there's so many things I find out about after the fact because people posted on Facebook and they just figured I was going to see it. Like even if I didn't have 500 friend or 5,000 friends and, however many followers, even just that alone is going to make it difficult for me to see everything that everybody posts. But when you get to a certain amount of audience on Facebook and Instagram, it doesn't show you your friends anymore. Anytime I go in there, it's like I have to actively seek out people that I'm wondering how they're doing, that they came to my mind and I'm praying for them because it'll show me sponsored, recommended for you, a group you might like, somebody you might know. And if I click the group I might like, instead of showing me stuff from that group, it shows me 20 other groups you might like. And so you have to do reminders and you have to reach out to people and you have to tease people and you have to adjust for the world that you live in. So where I live here, you can't just do something the night before. When I was in DC, we would post conferences and things, 2 or 3 months out. If you posted them too much out, people would copy your event. But you still have to give people time to plan because schedules are so busy. And when I was in the DC area, the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, people were busy. Everybody had like 2 or 3 jobs, a side 2 or they had a main job, 2 or 3 side hustles and a nonprofit, right? So everybody was really busy. So you couldn't just do it the night before. But when I moved to Shreveport, Shreveport is a gambling town. Shreveport has a lot of tickets that go at the last minute, super discount. They have a lot of events that happen that at the last minute they open it up for free. So in Shreveport is a very fickle town. So you can't just plan to, a year out and expect to have a full house. You kind of have to nurture that all the time. I mean, I would still plan a year out, but you have to nurture that, and you have to understand that people are not going to make the decision until the very last minute because they are looking for the bigger, better deal, right? And so it's important to understand that we can't just we can't just hang a shingle and expect people to show up, okay? Another big thing, and this is another mistake that I made a lot, was that the topic was too vague. And I gotta tell you, I got a love-hate relationship with niches. Niches are riches, right? Necking down who you're talking to is a great way to get the people that really want to hear what you have to say. And I'm a big fan of microsites sites. I've got 300 and something domain names, and a lot of those, they don't make me much money, but once they're set up, the little micro niche sites, once they're set up, they bring in consistent money here, $1 here, $5 there, $10 there, $20 there. And you do it and you set it and forget it. And as long as I'm making my $10 a year for the name back, I'm really good. $100 here, $100 here, $100 there every month. It adds up, right? And so, I'm a big fan of niches, but when it came to doing finance, I was very hesitant to niche down to ladies of wealth because we had the people that I modeled my business after didn't niche down their businesses. They went for everybody who was trying to get out of debt. And so, but that doesn't work in today's world as well. It's really important to really niche it down to what is a specific result that people are going to have when they work with you. I help hardworking women and a few good men dump debt, build wealth, and leave a legacy. People come to me, they hire me because they want to dump debt. People come to me, they hire me because they want to build wealth. People come to me, they hire me because they want to leave a legacy. They didn't just build all this wealth to have it, they wanted to do something with it that's lasting in the world. Those are the people who come with me. That specific result. What is the specific result that comes from the Juneteenth Legacy Conference? You will learn about certain things. And we're gonna keep it real G rated for the room right here, okay? Because y'all know I have my little one in here. People who attend Juneteenth Legacy, they're going to learn about certain obstacles to building wealth for certain demographics. They're going to connect with others who struggle in the same areas, and they're going to walk away with a strategic action plan for what their next steps are to build wealth despite those obstacles. That is what that conference is about. It's not a wine fest. It's not a I can't stand this, I can't stand that fest. It's not a they owe me this or they owe me that fest. Yes, they owe me this. Yes, they owe me that. But what are you going to do about it in the moment? In the moment, I'm going to take action and create the life that I want to create. And what are the workarounds that I need to create? If you put barriers in my way, what do I need to do to get around those barriers? That's what Juneteenth Legacy is. You want to have people walk away with a specific result. Each one of my quarterly women's wealth retreats, we have a specific result. One of our quarterly retreats is about getting our money under control. It's a money management spend plan and spend planning and future planning retreat. One of our women's wealth retreats is about investments. You are going to come away with an investment strategy that is designed for your unique personality, health conditions, family situation, and risk tolerance. Another one is our multiple streams of income, and another one is about our legacy building and estate planning. Very clear. You're going to walk away with a specific result from those women's wealth retreats, right? Okay. So I hope that you can see how being specific about what people are going to get is going to help them come to your events. So, like, let's talk about finances. That's not a great title. It's an okay title. If it's the only one you got, start with it and get a result. I'm a big fan of get a result and then tweak the result. But a better topic might be 3 ways to stop living paycheck to paycheck in the next 90 days. That tells me very clearly what kind of people are expected at this event, and it tells me very clearly what I'm going to learn to do. And it's also a filter. It's a filter for people who you don't want. If you're going to teach on how to stop living paycheck to paycheck in the next 90 days, well, you don't want people who are financially independent. So, and vice versa. You don't want to have an estate planning wealth. You don't want to have an estate planning philanthropic retreat with people who are still figuring out how they're going to rob Peter to pay Paul. So you want to make sure it's very clear who's going to attend, who's going to benefit, and what are they going to get out. Okay. Now, I am sharing you these mistakes because I made them, and I sometimes still do, and especially this next one, because too many of us, your girl included, start off with teaching instead of connection. And especially when we're in an online class like this, it's more difficult for me to build connection because I don't know who's on, and unless you drop something in on the comments before I get started, like when we're in that initial intro, you know, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. When I'm at a live event, I like to go and I like to meet with people one on one and connect with them. Um, but when we are trying to get people to come to our event, so we are hosting an event, we're trying to make that event be successful. A lot of times we start telling them what we're going to teach them in the event instead of actually explaining how the overall event is going to help. And for me, one of the ways that I have learned to get around that is to highlight my speakers. Okay. Instead of jumping straight into what it is I'm going to lecture somebody about, I help build the energy about this person this and this person that and this person's going to do this and this person's going to do that. And it also is going to be the same as when we open up our events. Now you might say, "Well, JJ, I'm not good with that. That's why I'm planning the event." You can hire somebody to do that. You can hire somebody to do that, and they can be your MC. And you don't have to have all the skill sets to make wealth. You don't have to have all the skill sets to build wealth. In fact, the smartest people who make the most money aren't the people with all the degrees behind their name. It's the people who know how to leverage the individual skills of the people with the degrees behind their names. Oh, I done said a mouthful. Let me say that again. The people who make the most money, the people that have the most success, the people who fulfill the most of their dreams are not the people with the most amount of letters after their names. They're not necessarily the most educated and they're not necessarily the most accomplished. But what they are good at is harnessing the talents and the power and the resources of the people who have those qualifications, the people who have those qualifications, the people who have those intuit abilities and harnessing those abilities to achieve their goals. So I don't have to be perfect at all the things. I can bring into my team somebody who's good at that. And if I'm not a good MC, I can bring somebody on who is a good MC. If I'm not good at managing energy and getting people hyped up, I can bring somebody in who's good at that. If I'm not good with fill in the blank, if I'm not good with the research, I can bring somebody in at that. Okay. For whatever mix it is you need, you can hire that out or you can collaborate that out. Okay. Don't feel like you got to do it all. The best events are when you don't do it all. The best events are when you have people who are so bought into the mission that they bring their talent to your table and use it to bless everybody. Ooh, and when you let them. Okay. Oh man. If I had, because I host a lot of micro events and even teaching classes like this could be a live event. Hang on. If I had $1,000 for how many times I made this mistake, if I had $1,000 For how many times I've made this mistake, I would be a multimillionaire because I host a lot of events. Even these live classes, I consider them live events. It's not a big conference, but it's still an event. This big mistake, not telling people what to do next. And for most of us, when profit is one of our main goals of the event, not telling people where to spend their money. That is the biggest mistake you can make if your goal of your profit is something to do. I mean, if the goal if the goal of your conference, the goal of your event is to make money, to sell books, to sell courses, to sell coaching, you have to tell people where to spend their money. You have to tell people what's the next step. Yes, you want to thank them for joining. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But you should always have a next step. There should always be a next step. Sign up for next year. Download this guide. Join my program. Here's the next workshop. Here's the strategy. Book this strategy session. Enroll for the next Women's Wealth Mastermind. Without a clear call to action, you could have the most amazing event with great speakers and thought provoking sessions and little impact. Okay. And so, one of the things that we want to do is get in the habit of always having a next step. I know, I'm not good at that. I make that mistake a lot. And I've gotten to the point where I know I need to do it. So if I'm running late, I throw, you know what, y'all, if I'm running late or I don't have a class prepared that I'm selling people into, I throw an affiliate link down there and we're just going to roll on, but I'm going to sell something. I'm going to give you a next step. I'm going to invite you to be connected with me and to take the conversation further because otherwise, okay, that was great. I'm going to go on about my day. And then a week from now, you're going to have forgotten what we've done. And so when you hold an event, one of the things you want is for people to come back. So guess what a lot of very successful events do? They have enrollment at discounted prices for next year's conference. Oh, ho, ho, ho. They have enrollment at a discounted price for next month's session. See how that works? You can do that too. Okay. Okay. So let me think. Let me just excuse me for just a second. As we're going to continue with some of our big mistakes. And again, I am not telling you anything today that I have not done wrong myself. I guess wrong is not necessarily the right way to say it because to me, if you get out there and you do something and you learn, that's profit. If you get out there and do something and it's not perfect, but people buy it, and the people who are trying to be perfect don't do anything because it's not perfect and nobody buys from them, you still win. Because I've been in a lot of spaces, and I don't even know if I should share this, but I've been in a lot of spaces where somebody was like, how?" And they just and I know what they're thinking because they're just kinda like, How?" And I know what they're thinking. What they're thinking is, "How are you succeeding?" Socially awkward, scientifically minded personality, not the most fun person in the world, very serious personality. Although I do have lots of fun, my personality is very serious. I don't like a lot of frivolous things. I like to talk about the deep things. That's what motivates me. Now I have learned I have learned to be silly with my kids and I have learned to watch soap operas with some of my friends. Taken me a couple decades to do that, but I've learned to to do those things. Um but, a lot of times people are like, I don't people are just like, Who is this? Who is this JJ Conway?" And then they meet me in person and they're like, "You are not who I thought you were going to be." Okay? Um, a lot of that success comes from being willing to get out there and do something. And it may not be perfect, and it may not be what I want it to be, and it may not be what it ultimately could be, and it may not be what somebody else would put together if they did it, but they don't get off their booty and do it, and I did, so I got the money. And that's that. And then every once in a while, I hit on something that's like, "Whoo!" People resonate with that. And you know what I do? It's called rinse and repeat. And one of the biggest things you got to do to find something that really resonates with people so you can rinse and repeat, you got to remember the event is about you. No. I hope you were listening to me and said, she said, what? It's not about her. No, you're planning events about you. That's why people aren't making as much money. Because I used to get up and talk about it's all me, it's all me, it's all me, it's all me. No, the event is not about me. It is about you. The event is not about the planner. The event is about the people who attend. The event, I don't say what I say because I just want to pontificate. I'm saying what I say because I have been trained that this will be profitable for you and for me. Sometimes I get off on a rabbit trail, and yes, I do say what I want to say, and I think it's entertaining, and I think you enjoy it, or you wouldn't be here. But one of the biggest mistakes we make as event planners and as speakers is feeling like we're going to give people what we think they should have. And unfortunately, people didn't come for what we think they should have. They came for what they think they need. We still give them what we think they should have, but we cover it in a sizzling, outward, enticing wrapper of what they think they need. Think about that just a little bit, okay? Ooh, one of the biggest mistakes that we've made, one of the biggest mistakes that I used to make, even as a pastor, one of the biggest mistakes I made behind the pulpit is building my events or building and speaking around what I wanted to say instead of what the audience needed to solve. What I wanted to say instead of what the audience needed in that moment. Even as a pastor, what I wanted to say and what I wanted to tell you, put you in your place instead of what the Lord needed you to hear in that moment that was going to move your life forward just that little bit. People attend events because they want solutions, they want profits, they want connections, they want transformation, they want insight, they want to make more money, they want to catch a mate, they want to be fatter. I know I didn't say that right. They want to be, I was gonna say bigger. They want fatter wallets. That's what I really meant to say. I hate when I get on a roll and then I just mess it all up, right? But people, they don't come because they just don't wanna be preached to all day and a whole bunch of PowerPoint presentations. They wanna get something out of it. They wanna lose weight. They wanna get healthy. They wanna manage the symptoms of aging. They wanna attract the mate of their dreams. They wanna be able to travel around the world and not worry about money. All the things that they want. They wanna be able to buy a piece of real estate. They've been working all their life and they can't afford a simple small house. Oh, they really wanna just be able to accomplish something before they can't do it anymore, and you can offer that to them, and now your event sounds like something's gonna do something for them instead of a long presentation about you, you, and you, and you, and you. Yeah, yeah. So ask yourself when you're coming up with the theme of your event or the theme of the workshop or the theme of the conference, what problem is going to be solved for the audience, okay? You want to be able to have a a problem that you're solving. You want to be able to make a clear I don't want to say aggressive, but a good assertive way of marketing that. You wanna be able to personally invite people, and yeah, you can't invite thousands of people personally. Well, sometimes you can, but if you can take it beyond a random flyer and make a video and throw some Facebook ads or Insta ads or something like that, or if you can do direct messages, personal emails, conversations, a lot of that, it makes people feel personally welcomed, which makes them more likely to wanna attend. And then you wanna make sure that the energy is in the room, that it's feeling alive, and people feel like that they're going to change something. Something's going to change in their life. It's going to change my life. It's going to change my life. My life is going to be better because I'm here with you. I'm going to learn something new that I never learned before because I'm here with you. I'm here with all these speakers, and they're going to teach me how to do better with AI, how to write that book. They're going to teach me how to buy that house, how to invest in the stock market, how to start my business, how to get healthy when I don't have a budget for the gym. I mean, I can feel it. Life is going to change because I came to this event. That's the kind of environment that you got to create. And it all ties into making sure it's about them and not you. Okay. Oh my goodness. I hope you've enjoyed that today. I want you to remember live events don't fail because people aren't interested. People are spending big money on live events all day long. People are spending hours on webinars that teach them nothing. A lot of fluff, 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 hyperbole, but they don't actually give you anything. And if you can come in and give people some encouragement and put some substance behind it, you can change lives while building wealth. You can build wealth that makes an impact. If you can have the invitation, the message, the structure that's designed with the audience in mind, where you focus on solving real problems and you make people feel personally invited. You give them a clear path forward to how to spend their money, time, or energy resources with you next. These live events can become one of the most powerful tools you have to grow your influence and your impact. Y'all, and when you do that, the room fills up and the conversation changes lives. Oh, I hope that you have enjoyed that today. I hope that you have enjoyed that today. Okay. I am, let's see. Oh dear. Oh dear. I'm so hey, I don't know. Well, she's watching, so I guess she'll hear me say this. I'm so proud of you. I keep seeing you on Minister Cohn's posts. I'm like, look at her go. I can't wait. I can't wait till you're on one of my stages. I can't wait till you dominating the stage. Dominating the stage, not just for yourself, your family, for your ministry, for all the things that God has for you. He's got something special for you. Don't let the enemy take it away. And you're learning from somebody, one of the most mighty women of power I've ever seen, who knows how to overcome hardships and still slay the room. And I'm just so proud of you, and I'm excited that you're watching. I'm actually touched. I got some young people watching. Yay! Okay, okay. I have a lot of comments here that I'm having to kind of weed through. I like I said, if you don't got haters, you're not doing something right. And I keep getting a lot of comments where I keep getting a lot of comments where I'm having to weed through your questions. So if anybody has a question before we go, then go ahead and write it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just woohoo. All right. But be nice now. But be nice. All right, all right. Woo woo. Okay, okay. We have if you have enjoyed this, let's see how long we've been on today, for about an hour. So this will probably become 2 podcast episodes, or it may become 1 podcast episode with a teaser for you to go to the event site. This replay will be a free a free lesson in the events class that you can download. I mean, you can access at jjclink.com/events. So you'll be able to watch the full replay of this at jjclink.com/events. It'll probably take about a day or two to get that up there. But if you're listening as part of the Ladies of Wealth podcast, I encourage you to go out to YouTube so that you can see some of the slides. You don't need to see the slides. I described them very well. But if you would like to see the slides, you can go out to the Ladies of Wealth channel on YouTube and see the slides. Okay. All righty, let's see. Let's see. I don't see any other questions, so I just want to make a couple quick announcements. We are beginning to lay down the final structure for Juneteenth 2026, which is going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We are going to be at OSU Tulsa, right there in the Greenwood District. I'm super stoked about that. We have got some historic boutiques and other events that are going to happen, and our event dovetails very nicely. When our event ends, Juneteenth Tulsa picks up and kicks off. And then you've got Juneteenth Tulsa. And then after that, you've got oh, what do they call it? It's not Juneteenth Economic Summit, but they have another economic summit. So it's like economic summit, us, economic summit, somebody else, and Juneteenth Tulsa in the middle. It's just like a whole weekend of empowerment. And so if you are anywhere near the Tulsa area, I want to invite you to come to Juneteenth Legacy 2026. You can come as my guest. You can come as my guest. We are going to be doing a call for speakers, and we're going to be launching our ticket sales very soon. I'm in the process of directing the team. I'm in the process of letting go of some of my control and letting the team take over some of that. And so we should be having that website updated pretty soon, and the ticket sales will go live and the call for speakers will go live. Now, look, I just said you can come as my guest. If you don't remind me that I said it on this training, I'm not going to remember that I said it on this training. So make sure you tell me I said it on this training that you can come as my guest. And then I will add you into your ticket. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Well, I don't see any questions, and my little one really wants his mom to be done teaching and go to bed. So I'm going to make him happy and make my exit now. I want to thank all of you who are on for being on. I want to thank those of you who are sharing the word for sharing the word. It means a lot to me that you're here. I appreciate you very much. Take care and be blessed. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Y'all humor me for a second. I need to turn it off, but I also need to screenshot the comments because we're having an issue with people saying stuff and then they disappear. The comments disappear. So then I can't go after the people that are saying some of the evil things. We had people using racial slurs on one of these. So just give me a second. I've got my phone going. I'm just recording the comments so I can get some of those out there. The crazy thing, and what's actually a good thing, y'all didn't see them because after the broadcast ends, people go in and delete them all. But it's like, okay, but you did that during the thing. So we're gonna figure that out. Thanks for your indulgence. All right, good night. Next week it'll probably be a pre-recorded class because it will be our tech week for the Promise. The Promise is a fabulous show about the resurrection of Jesus, and me and my son are performing in The Promise. And so every night next week, we will be doing what's called Tech Week. That's dress rehearsal run-throughs all week, every night. And then our opening night, you can catch us there Saturday night. The show actually opens Friday, but many of our Church of the Living God International people will be in church. So you can catch me Saturday night and catch my little guys Saturday night at Willow Park Baptist Church performing The Promise all the way through the day before Easter. And so it will probably be a pre-recorded class. It is a real estate class. So it may be one of those where we will do some driving for dollars or something like that and do some live footage and then put that together and just broadcast it for you. Whew, okay. Aw. She's so beautiful and smart and just got all the things together. Okay, I gotta stop. My little one heard me, and he popped up, was like, hey, wait a second. She said she was done. All right, y'all. Good night. Take care. Be blessed. Don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to the channel, and ask your question at ladiesofwealth.com.